When killing becomes a button. A speech on the moral paradox of modern warfare. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine something. A person is sitting in a room. There is no battlefield around them. No gunfire. No smoke. No screaming. Just a screen. And a button. On that screen is another human being. A decision is made. A button is pressed. And somewhere thousands of kilometers away, a life ends. We call this modern warfare. But I ask you tonight, have we really become more civilized? Or have we simply become better at creating distance between ourselves and the consequences of killing? We teach our children that killing another human being is wrong. We call it murder. We create laws to protect human life. We build courts to punish those who deliberately take it. We tell every generation that human life has value. And yet, when the same human life is taken during war, our language suddenly changes. A human being becomes a target. A dead civilian becomes collateral damage. A remote attack becomes a targeted strike. And the person making the decision may never even see the face of the person who dies. Is that the language of civilization? Or is it the language we created to make violence easier to accept? Let me be clear. Technology can save lives. Drones can be used for rescue operations, surveillance, disaster response, and many legitimate purposes. And governments have a responsibility to protect their soldiers. Every mother wants her son or daughter to come home alive. Every family fears the terrible knock at the door. So yes, protecting human life matters. But here is the question we cannot escape. Does protecting one human life give us permission to make it easier to take another? That is the moral dilemma. There is another danger. When two human beings stand face to face, killing can carry an enormous psychological burden. But what happens when the battlefield becomes a computer screen? When the enemy becomes a moving symbol? When a human life becomes a coordinate? When death becomes a calculation? A child is not a coordinate. A family is not collateral damage. A human being is not a pixel on a screen. Behind every number, there is a name. Behind every name, there is a family. And behind every family, there is a story. We must never allow technology to erase that reality. And now humanity stands before an even greater challenge. Artificial intelligence and increasingly autonomous weapons are bringing us closer to a world where machines may identify, track, and potentially select targets with less direct human involvement. So I ask, if a machine makes the wrong decision, who is responsible? The soldier? The commander? The programmer? The manufacturer? The government? Or does responsibility simply disappear? Inside the machine, a machine cannot feel regret. A machine cannot understand the value of a human life. A machine cannot stand before a grieving mother and say, I am sorry. That is why meaningful human control must remain at the center of decisions involving human life and death. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a speech against technology. It is a speech for humanity. Technology should serve human beings. It should protect life. It should reduce suffering. It should help us prevent war, not make war easier to conduct. Because technological progress without moral progress is not true progress. Power without accountability is dangerous. Intelligence without compassion is frightening. And weapons without meaningful human responsibility can become catastrophic. So perhaps we should stop asking only, how powerful can our weapons become? Perhaps we should ask a more important question. How much humanity will remain in us when we possess that power? Because civilization is not measured by how quickly we can destroy. It is measured by how courageously we choose to protect. It is not measured by how many targets we can eliminate. It is measured by how many lives we refuse to lose. And perhaps, the greatest victory humanity can ever achieve will not be winning another war. It will be building a world where fewer people have to die in the first place. Thank you.